Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Hello and welcome to the Attacking Football podcast. Now, this is a special one, right? But first, making his triumphant return, Dylan, how you doing, mate?
I'm absolutely splendid. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Euros have finally come to an end. We can all have a bit of a break. Making his Attacking Football podcast debut, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Guillermo Reynold, long-time Attacking Football writer and contributor, making his first podcast appearance. Welcome to the show, mate.
It's a real honor to be here. I've been dreaming about this all my life, honestly.
Mate, it's good to have you. And normally at this point, I welcome our producer and voice from above, Alfie. But this week, he's not a voice from above. He's a person. He's here. Alfie, welcome, mate.
Thanks for having me. I'm gutted. I haven't got my hair powder and my hair's all over the gaff. But buzzing to be here. First one that the camera's actually on for. Looking forward to getting
Alfie
into it.
Smith face reveal. If you don't press subscribe and like for the Alfie face reveal, you're not human. Okay. Subscribe for Alfie. Okay. This week we are going to be talking about the Euros. We finally have a winner. Lads, how was the tournament for you? Did you enjoy it? Did you watch every game? What happened?
I thought it was enjoyable. A lot of people are saying it's not enjoyable. I don't really understand why. Some games were boring. I think the games that were boring were the bigger games.
Yeah.
Between the big countries, I think teams were teams were too afraid to lose as opposed to being desperate to win.
Yeah.
Whereas you had the likes of teams like Georgia. I even enjoyed watching Romania. I really enjoyed watching Romania for the games they were there. Yeah, like I enjoyed the smaller countries. It was kind of I know no smaller countries won the tournament, but it was like the tournament of the smaller countries because they came to life.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and they were the ones who gave the fans something to watch. So I thought it was an enjoyable tournament overall. I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10 rating overall.
I think the group stages, everybody was just wow. The group stages were incredible.
Yeah, no, 100%, man.
45 yards in every single goal. I think own goal scored like 12 goals in the group stages. It was carnage. And we got into the knockouts and everyone went, shit.
No.
Fuck.
I miss the own goal jokes. They were peak, man.
Yeah, there was a lot of defensive football, a lot of teams cancelling each other out. France-Portugal was one of the worst games of the tournament.
Awful.
It was a real hard watch. And do you know what? I think the only team that really played a semblance of decent football were Spain. And I think they were worthy winners in the end. Guillermo, you are our token Spanish stroke Irish.
Yes, see, hola, mon amigos. That was French, but anyway. I mean, before we get into anything, just commiserations to Alfie over here. I'm putting it the wrong side, but anyway.
I'm still.
He's our Turkish Englishman here, and he was very, very upset after the end of the tournament.
LA's English.
What do you
forget about LA?
No, LA is Welsh. We all know LA is Welsh.
He's not.
He can pretend to hide it, but we all know the truth. But
ladies and gentlemen, this is Guillermo's last podcast.
No, I've ruined it already. But I definitely agree with what Dylan said. I thought after the group stage, we were in for an all-timer tournament. We had so many underdogs there. We had Turkey in there, Romania, Austria, in Switzerland as well. And it just went to, as LA said, complete shit, you know?
Yeah, the thing is for me, I think as soon as we got out the group stages, there wasn't too many shocks. Whereas in previous tournament, there were always shocks. A big boy getting knocked out. I mean, you could argue Italy, but this Italian squad if we're being honest, it was awful. So them getting knocked out by Switzerland wasn't too shocking. I mean, probably the biggest shock was Austria getting knocked out by Turkey, and I think that says a lot about the knockouts, really.
You're right.
Yeah, I had much higher hopes for Ralph Ragnick, to be honest. But I thought they were going to go much further.
Oh, don't get Dylan started on Ragnick.
Yeah, I was going to say.
All right, Dylan, that's your cue.
We don't need a 6-hour podcast on why Ralph Ragnick is the truth. I think there were a couple of surprises in the knockouts. I think Turkey was one of them. I didn't expect them to get as far as they did. Spain, I think, were a surprise. I didn't expect Spain to get past France. I think France were underwhelming. I think that could be considered a shock, although admittedly Spain won the tournament, but I think that's a shock. France have been in the last 2 World Cup finals. They've won one of them. They probably had every right to say we should be in the final.
I mean, not to mention Slovakia nearly knocking out England as well. That was going to be a huge shock before Jude Bellingham got involved.
Yeah. Well, let's have a quick chat about England. They had one of the worst XGs in the tournament. They were sort of okay defensively. I think they conceded 3 or 4 goals in the entire tournament. 2 of them happened to be in the final. They played a system that I think most casual observers said they really shouldn't be playing. With the plethora of talent in the English squad, it's difficult to take the way that they played. Not necessarily losing the tournament, because I think the old English arrogance isn't quite there anymore. But with the players at hand, I think the way that they played was the worst part of the tournament. Dill?
Yeah, look, I'm kind of Alfie on the side of Southgate doing well with England, but the way they played with the players they do have at their disposal is, I suppose, it's not the way you'd expect a team with that much talent to look on the pitch. I do think missing Shaw in the group stages, I think if they had had him in the team from the beginning,
it terribly
would have looked better.
Inside, didn't it?
Yeah,
like,
in the whole group stage,
Trippier at left back just wasn't working. Like, let's be real for a minute.
I think Foden on the left.
No.
In the entire
there was no left hand side throughout the whole group stage. There was nothing over on the left.
And the knockouts, I don't think.
Yeah,
Bellingham played on the left final.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Until Foden got moved more centrally and they put Bellingham out on the left, I think it kind of... Bellingham didn't have the best of tournaments from the start, but I think moving him to the left didn't really help. It helped Foden, but I just think with them both, it would never had a game where Foden and Bellingham were both like unbelievable. You had Foden against Netherlands, but then Bellingham didn't have the best of game against Netherlands. So just throughout the whole tournament, there was never a moment where the whole team was completely switched on.
Alfie, let me ask you a question, right? You are, and for the viewers watching at home, we have an attacking football group chat, right? There's 100 of us in there, all the writers, all the producers, all of the podcast boys, everybody's in there. And not one single person was a bigger defender of Gareth Southgate than Alfie. No. Yeah. And I have to put this question to you, right? England have quite possibly one of the best attacking players in world football in their squad, right? So you could argue Kane is the top 2 striker in world football. Right? You've got the guy who's just won the Champions League and La Liga with Bellingham and is possibly up for the Ballon d'Or. You've got Phil Foden, who's just won Player of the Year in the Premier League. You've got Gordon, who's torn it up for Newcastle. You've got Bukayo Saka. You've got who am I missing? Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
The attacking players in the England squad are exceptional to the point where you're leaving players like Rashford and Grealish. And we haven't even gotten on to the top scoring Englishman in the Premier League of Ollie Watkins. We've got Ivan Toney sitting on the bench. And you've got Jared Bowen. The attacking players for England, absolutely outstanding. The defensive side of the English side, you've got probably the best central defender sitting at home. You've got the best left back sitting on the bench because nobody knew if he was going to play or not because he was injured. You've got a right back situation where you've got a 35-year-old man who's only known for being really pacey. You've got a right back, another right back who's shoehorned into midfield because he's got a half decent cross on him. Why is Gareth Southgate ignoring the talented attacking players and focusing the side around their probably understrength defensive players?
mean, when you put it like that, I don't really know where to start. But he was a defensive player, wasn't he? He was always a defensive back. Yeah, he was always a defensive player, and I think that was his main focus, to contain the defensive stability. And I think it did work. I think defensively, I don't think you could argue that defensively we had a good tournament. I mean, the goal we conceded against Switzerland, Walker switched off and then they scored. But I think it was just like little moments when we conceded where the player switched off and the player was stuck in two minds. Where I think it was Nico Williams' goal. I don't really want to remember. I've tried to get it out of my head, but I think it was Nico Williams' goal where he had Luke Shaw had Carvalho one side and LAMINE YAMAL the other side. So he was just always stuck in two minds. But for me, I just think Jamie Carragher said it, and I agree. I don't think you can't. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Southgate's the best manager in the world. Tactically, he's the best. I will never going to say anything like that. But I do think the attack let him down. I think it was clear that Harry Kane just wasn't fit at all. Foden has never, ever rocked up in an England shirt. So you can't even just say this tournament. I couldn't tell you, apart from the Netherlands game, I couldn't tell you one good performance I've seen him. Anthony Gordon getting about 5 minutes. You could argue he should have. For me, I said to my brother that Gordon should have started start of the knockouts game. I would have had Gordon on the left and see how we just done. But we never really done it. I think, Southgate should have made a couple changes a lot earlier. I mean, Palmer had more goal contributions than Saka and Foden combined, didn't he? And he didn't start one game. But I just think there's so many talented players. But yeah, I'll always stick by it, and I think Southgate's done a very, very good job.
No, he has, and you can't argue with the results. He's made two finals and a semi-final,
two finals, semi-final, and
a quarter-final. So let me move this on to Dylan, right? Because Alfie, you just said something there that I want to press Dylan on now, right? You said the attacking players let Southgate down. Dylan, did the attacking players let Southgate down, or did Southgate set the team up in such a way that the attacking players couldn't flourish?
It's a very difficult question.
Because Kane is better when he's got runners off him, right? Well, like a Rashford where he can drop in deep and spin the ball.
100%. Now that is very true, and that's why Gordon should have been utilised more. Kane is best when he's dropping into the hole, pulling centre backs away, and then allowing a player like Rashford and even Saka can run in behind. He's capable of it. But at the same time, Alfie was right. Kane was so sluggish throughout the tournament.
You could tell he wasn't fit.
Whether I think the physicality of the whole season took its toll on a lot of players.
Yeah.
Bellingham spoke about that in I think it was a post-match interview. He said it was very difficult. Seasons are long, and look, these players are playing too many games. They are.
Yeah.
It's playing the same. They're playing too many games. They're involved in many games.
Same for the Spanish players, mate, and they won the tournament.
No, I know, 100%. But like, I do look at the Spanish team, and I don't know. I don't want to, because Carvajal played a lot of games, but I understand your point.
Rodri's played a lot of games. I think Rodri played more games than anybody else this season.
And I think he has 100%. I don't know. It just seemed to affect England a lot more. I think the pressure from the media in England as well is also some of the biggest issues for the English squad.
No, definitely
doesn't help.
They were saying it on Sky Sports earlier. As a manager, like part of your mind now, because obviously Southgate's been sacked, we need to look for a manager. The managers must be thinking, do I even want to take this job? The amount of criticism that comes with it. I mean, you say that, I think half the country's been singing that Southgate still turns them on over the weekend.
You have, Alfie, you have.
The amount of criticism that they get.
That's the issue with.
Yes, sir.
No, that's exactly it. Like, people's view on Southgate's tenure would be so different if England had won that game the weekend.
Yeah.
And there's no, like, obviously you can sit here and all day and you can say that Southgate set up, let them down, and look, when you bring in the stuff about Kane and the runners and everything like that, that is Southgate's issue. It's 100% Southgate's issue. But then you look at the big players, like Bellingham didn't turn up in any game.
He scored.
He didn't. I love Bellingham.
The equaliser and one was a winner.
No, but like, he didn't play well in that game. His performance level was really low through the tournament.
You've got to get results.
And That's why, sorry, I always back Southgate. You don't have to play well, especially in tournament football. Obviously, playing well means realistically you're going to get better results, but the main focus is on getting them results. And I think that's
fair.
why Southgate should get back to it, because no matter how we seem to play sometimes, the result was there and we would always get the result.
So when I said that, I meant in terms of a player like Bellingham.
Yeah, Bellingham, yeah.
Involved in the entire game. He just has to pop up with a goal or an assist when it matters. I'm not saying he needs to be a Zidane or he needs to go out and be a Cruyff or a Platini. He just needs to get the goal or get the assist. And I think he did that at times in the tournament. I think England have to play well. Let me move this on to Guillermo, right? Because I've got a question for you. Where did England go wrong in the final? Because they set up sort of the way that the public have been asking for the entire tournament. What went wrong?
Well, here's the thing, right? Even I know obviously Southgate's system isn't the best. Southgate has a kind of identity that's brought him success.
Mm.
You can kind of tell even back in Euro 2020 that defensive system was working out for them, you know?
Yeah.
They got to the final, it was a penalty shootout, it was a tight game, they lost, that happens. But I feel like Southgate doesn't have the capability to chop and change and make tactical adjustments to the system. He has one system, and that's it. He's not nearly adjustable enough to really deal with the pressure of big finals.
So you're saying he changes players, but he doesn't make tactical changes?
Yeah, that's kind of what I feel, because I don't think he's really good enough of a manager to make those changes. He's a good manager, you know. Undoubtedly, the group he's made in England is
manager. He's one of the
fantastic.
best.
He's
amazing. Even on saying that today, he is extremely good. Like if you look at the past, Rio Ferdinand has spoken about the English players not speaking to each other, sitting in different groups. Southgate's changed that completely, and you have to commend him for that.
I think what kind of people need to understand is no matter the changes Southgate makes, his system limits those talented players, you know. If he brings, let's say he starts Ollie Watkins in the final and people are asking for, Ollie Watkins is going to play the same as Harry Kane, I feel. Because I just feel like it's the system that limits all those attacking players. Ollie Watkins and Cole Palmer, they look good when they come on because it's tired legs, you know. The game is more open, but I feel if you start those players, it's going to give you the same result no matter what. The system it's tried and tested and it works, but not to the fullest degree. It won't win you finals at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean in the final. Wait, sorry, go on.
Go on.
I was going to say, yeah, in the final, Watkins came on for half an hour and ended the game with 4 touches. He had the same amount of touches against Netherlands as he did in the final, and he had about 27 minutes less. So that's just a stat to back that up, how even with the different players, just the tactics, it never seems to work.
So I think the Spanish manager did make some changes to the system that ended up winning them the game. He didn't have changes.
The biggest one I think was probably taking off Rodri. That was a big taking your best player, arguably your best player off at halftime. That's a huge move to make. Like,
was he injured?
Yeah, I think he was carrying a knock.
Yeah,
but still,
sorry, that's my
Zuma Mendy come on and was brilliant. The issue, like Southgate's biggest issue in the final was them long balls.
Yeah.
Oh mate, don't.
I think asking Pickford to hoof the ball up to a man who, albeit I described him as one of the top 2 strikers in world football earlier on, Kane is not and has never been a target man. He is a ball to feet around the corner, lobbing the ball.
He's not mobile enough to do it anymore either.
No, and the only other players that he could possibly hit long balls to were Saka, who is 5'2", Phil Foden, who's 5'1", and Jude Bellingham, who wasn't playing far enough forward to have received any of those balls.
Yeah.
If you're going to play long ball football and you start a player who is accustomed to playing the best style of long ball football in Ivan Toney, because he will pin defenders and he can hold the ball up.
Yeah.
He's accustomed to it at Brentford. That's literally the way Thomas Frank plays. They literally built a system around Ivan Toney in that role. So, but then again, that's probably Southgate not having or making the bold enough choices to drop a player like Kane in the final.
No, I think that's fair. Okay, let's move on to something controversial that came out today, which is the official Euro 2024 team of the tournament. Now,
Don't annoy me.
Oh man,
I have words for this.
Frustrating.
The official one. I'm going to read out the list from goalkeeper to centre forward, right? Not
Yes, do, because I forget it already.
Oh, right. Mike Maignan in goal.
Nah.
No.
No, absolutely not. And I have a reason for this, right?
Go on.
I feel like that team of the tournament is just disregarding so many countries, like the likes of Turkey, you know, or Austria or Switzerland, who went far. It's so based off the teams that went far and not the achievements from the lower nations.
Hang on, let's do the team of the tournament first, right? If you let's do each player individually. Mike Maignan, I honestly believe the Spanish keeper should have been there.
Can I throw one name in that deserves to be in there above anyone else?
Go on.
Ashvili off Georgia, absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind of the point I was saying about the lower nations. I was going to say the Turkish keeper as well, Gunak. I probably butchered that pronunciation.
Yeah, he was good.
But I feel he had.
Yeah, you're Spanish. We don't expect you to be able to pronounce that.
Yeah, but I feel obviously you had that world-class performance against Austria, which is one of the shocks of the tournament. But even in the group stage, he had, I think, something like a 75% save percentage. I feel Turkey were just so defensively solid, and I feel he deserves some kind of credit for that.
Okay. Yeah. Left back, Cucurella. You can't argue with that. He was.
I'd give it to him 100%.
I think he was probably in the top 5 for player of the tournament in all.
Can I just? I want to apologise to him.
A personal one. The stage is yours, mate.
Because I think when we done, no spoilers, it's out. When we done the predictions video, I said Spain's defence would cost them, and actually being the making of them, literally.
Agree.
Yeah. So he deserves full credit.
2 centre backs, William Saliba and Manuel Akanji.
What? Like what's the story with that? Like that's ridiculous. Carry on.
Listen, I'm a Spurs fan, so and even I will admit that Saliba probably deserved to be in that. But Akanji, I don't understand it at all. I feel like
Saliba should have been in the team of the tournament. I don't think.
No.
And now I'm a Man United fan, so I will give credit where it's due. William Saliba is currently on form, one of the top 3 defenders in world football. However, France had a poor tournament. He had a poor tournament. I don't think he played well. He played okay. But there was nothing sensational about Saliba's performance.
Yeah, I mean, but when you also look at who his partner was, it was Upamecano. He's been catching some serious flack this season for how vulnerable he is offensively. So I feel like Saliba, the partner Saliba had, didn't help, especially with Canassi on the bench. That was a ridiculous decision. But
he was injured.
Manuel Akanji, I will say, had a really good tournament. He did really, really well against England. I think he put Kane in his back pocket and collected him there for an entire game.
I thought Gay should actually have been a shout.
I was going to say Mark Gay. He was phenomenal in every single game. I know he missed that one, so that I reckon if he didn't miss that one game, I feel like maybe he would have been in the team of the tournament.
But then Conley was really well deputising.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah. Now this is probably the pick that I have the biggest gripe with, and it is the only player in the entire team. Kyle Walker was single-handedly responsible for the last 3 goals England conceded at the tournament, and 2 of them lost them the final. And he somehow managed to make it into the team of the tournament. Can anybody give me a single justifiable reason why he should be there?
We'll sit here all night. We'll be sitting here all night.
I'll be sitting in silence for an hour.
Yeah.
Right.
Dylan, okay. Do you want to throw out some suggestions on who should have been in the right back spot?
I think I know who Dylan's going to say. Dylan?
I think you'd have to give it to Carvajal. Won the tournament.
I think I agree.
I think you'd have to give it to Carvajal.
It's a shithousery of this.
No. Oh my god, that was my favorite part. But
he just keeps doing it. He just keeps doing it. Obviously, he keeps doing it. I don't know how you can look past the winner of the tournament.
While we're on Carvajal, though, sorry, Ballon d'Or rankings. I know this is a different subject. How's Carvajal 4th in the Ballon d'Or rankings? I know he's had a good
Just Champions League, La Liga, and the Euros.
Yeah, Spanish Real Madrid player. That's all I was going to happen.
I mean,
La Liga as well.
think about. I think he is officially the most decorated right back in football history now. He has more Champions Leagues than anybody else on earth. I think he's tied with Modric now for the most Champions League titles in history. And Nacho. He's won the Euros twice. He's won the World Cup. He's won La Liga 4 or 5 times. He has completed football and then gone round and done it again.
Yeah. No, he's a legend of the game, and there's no debating that. But the Ballon d'Or rankings, it shouldn't be on the. Oh, of course, the trophies you won in the year, it should be included. But you can't have Carvajal 4th.
No, the Ballon d'Or is
the Ballon d'Or is just trophy ranking. Like,
in the world this season.
Popularity contest, but like you have to be. Look, and to be fair, he is the most outstanding player in his position, probably, but that doesn't mean he's the fourth most outstanding player on the planet.
Yeah.
Coming on to the man who probably is the most outstanding player on the planet, the player of the tournament winner, Rodri.
He deserves to be in there, but I don't think he should have been player of the tournament.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I actually think Fabian Ruiz.
I was going to say I don't think he was the best Spanish midfielder in the tournament. I was going to say that as well.
Or Yamal.
Fabian.
He got yours.
Speaking of apologies, right at the start of the tournament, like the very first the Spain game, I turned to my brother and I said, "Spain don't have a chance. Like they've got Fabian Ruiz in their midfield. They don't have a hope." And I'm looking back at that now and like. I'm just never going to live that down, am I? I didn't say it publicly on video, at least like Dylan did, but still, it's just like, I feel like Fabian definitely had a lot of doubters going into the tournament, and he fucking smashed it. Like, he absolutely smashed it.
I think it's because...
Child on the podcast this week.
Sorry, Alfie. Sorry.
No, I think Fabian Ruiz had a fantastic tournament and genuinely deserved to be in the team of the tournament. I think when Rodri went off, he absolutely ran the midfield against England, and everybody that I know on Twitter and in my house, I had a house full of people here to watch the game. When Rodri was announced as going off at halftime, everybody cheered and they went, right, well, that's
I thought England were going to take it really.
Fabian Ruiz absolutely dominated. But there's a third Spanish guy in the midfield in the team of the season, and that's Dani Olmo.
Deserved. Absolutely deserved.
You can't argue with that one, can you, really?
Well, I know a lot of them were toyed for goal scorer, but you had the most goal contributions in the tournament along with him. He was point of goals too. And he saved Spain last minute with the header.
So I think he's probably in for a very big money move this summer, looking to be either Bayern, not Liverpool now. I think it'll probably be
Bayern interest.
Yeah. Okay. I think for me, alongside Kyle Walker, this might be the worst shout of the team of the tournament. Centre forward is Musiala.
No. I know he doesn't play centre forward, but you'd have to give it to Gakpo. I think Gakpo has been
Musiala shouldn't.
No, if you look at especially the group Musiala had as well, two of the worst teams in the tournament probably in Scotland and Hungary that he like most of his good performances came against. Like I know obviously he was good in the knockouts as well, but I feel like most of his standout performances came against some absolutely shocking teams.
Yeah.
Gakpo's goals were very important as well, and his overall performances were really solid. I thought he deserved to be in.
I think I would have put Gakpo there as well.
I think I would have went for Kane, but yeah, moving on.
No, Alfie. No.
Right, hang on. Producer Alfie, can you?
What are you missing?
Can you clip that? Thanks. Okay. And then the wide players are Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, deserved.
You know what? I don't think I would have had many complaints if they stuck 11 Spanish players in there, to be perfectly honest.
You really couldn't. I mean, look at the team.
Yamal is, like, I was thinking about Yamal earlier on. Just how you can be that good at 17. Like I've always said, there's players like Messi, right, that are just meant to be that good at football. He's probably a footballer who was training since they're 4 or 5 years old, twice as hard. This isn't taking away anything from you, man. Probably a footballer who's been training twice as hard since they're 4 or 5 years old at the age of 17, who is nowhere near as good as YAMAL.
Yeah.
That's just, whatever you believe in, God, the universe, that's just gifted talent. So good.
You know what? For me, the final, when Luke Shaw put that first challenge in, I thought Yamal's going to shy away from this. And then Luke Shaw absolutely dominated him for 45 minutes of football, followed him everywhere on the pitch. Every single place Yamal picked up the ball, Luke Shaw was there 10 seconds ahead of him, just nicking the ball away, giving him no time, no space. And remember earlier on, we had a little conversation about how the Spanish manager made little tweaks, tactical changes that won in the game. Moving Yamal inside, taking him away from Luke Shaw and sticking him on the shoulder of Gahey or Stones. That is what because he made that first goal for Nico Williams, and I think he created then the space for the second goal.
Or Yazabal.
Yeah. So that's the thing of the tournament. Interesting that England have one player in there that shouldn't, and they made the final. I think is that not probably the biggest indictment of how England played throughout the tournament? Final and have one in the team.
I might sound biased when I say this, but
Here we go.
Wrap in, boys.
Not that Cobby deserves a shout.
There we go.
He was absolutely amazing.
Oh, he was phenomenal, but I don't think he started as much games.
Maybe not started enough games.
I think honestly, the biggest indicator of Southgate's failings. The fact is, Cobby Mainoo deservedly isn't in the team of the season because he wasn't given enough time to show what he should be in the team of the season, or the team of the, not the season of the tournament. Like
saying that, I don't blame Southgate for not starting the first game because I wouldn't have started Trent now, but
no,
it is his first international tournament, and you don't know what way he's going to take to it. But when he was thrown in, and you've seen how he took to it.
But as soon as he was thrown in, right, every time
England had the balls to play Yamal from the start.
Pretty true.
Yamal, he was 16.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. Yamal's Yamal.
Yeah. You play your best players. It's not about, well, I don't know if they're going to handle it well. You play your best players.
Yeah. I think that's what playing the best players.
It won't be long before England's midfield has Adam Wharton and Mainoo in it. I'm not saying to drop out, but keep them two lads. Like I think Mainoo, Wharton, and Rice would have been a top midfield. Put Bellingham somewhere further up the pitch.
Well, there's an argument that Bellingham should have been playing a false nine because Kane wasn't necessarily. Well, Southgate said in his interview after the game that Kane wasn't necessarily fit for the whole tournament. That he was coming in off the back of not really playing a few games because he was injured for Bayern a few games in the season.
Yeah, I think I don't know.
But I think that's a good point to bring us on to our kind of honourable mentions for the tournament. I think Cobby Mainoo is one of them. Like potentially, Gareth Southgate's biggest failing of the tournament was attempting to experiment during an international tournament. Because from my point of view, right, rhythm is the most important thing when you go into a tournament. You experiment before it. You can't kind of work out what system you want to play, what the players are responding to, which players you want, etc., etc. When you get into the tournament, it's about building a rhythm, trying to get some momentum to move through the tournament. You can start slowly, don't get me wrong, but that has to build as you move forwards. And he played a different midfield in all three group games, and Cobby Mainoo didn't really get a look in until the knockout stages. I think it was too disjointed. They were still trying to work out the best way to fit everything in. And you can't do that in a major international tournament. You get punished for it.
Spain knew going into the tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing as well. I feel like Southgate was trying to keep some players in the squad at all, in the starting 11 at all costs. Like you see, every single knockout game England went down or whatever, it was always Mainoo who came off first. But Mainoo was the best player on the pitch for a lot of the time, and he still had I'm going to sound like a Spurs fan here, but Declan Rice. We can all agree Declan Rice wasn't up to his usual standard. Like,
but I think you could use that to apply to every single one of the England players. To be perfectly honest, I don't think any really played as well.
I just feel like Southgate had a golden opportunity with Mainoo. He had shown what he could do in the group stage, and he was bossing the midfield before going off, and then he just takes him off.
Yeah,
to bring on like the likes of Gallagher or Palmer. It just doesn't make sense to me why he would keep Declan Rice on when he's not performing. And while Mainoo was arguably like man of the match before he got taken off versus Slovakia, for example.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, there's a good argument there. And look, this is not to take anything away from Conor Gallagher or from Adam Wharton or even from Trent, right? Because these guys are professional footballers. They can go in and they can do a job. But when you have somebody of the quality of Kobbie Mainoo, whose main attribute is receiving the ball under pressure and keeping it, playing simple passes, keeping the move going, keeping the ball, starving the opposition of possession. That's what he does. And I think England have never had a player like that, so they don't really know how to use it. But I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of England again. I want to talk about some honourable mentions. So let's talk about Arda Güler.
Yeah, brilliant.
Phenomenal tournament.
What a tournament we had.
And for a young player, the tournament, we didn't get that. We didn't get far enough, unfortunately, but he is such a good footballer. He has everything.
Yeah.
And of course, who has him? Madrid. Who don't they have? They're set for him.
I feel he took on like a real similar role to YAMAL in the fact that he put the country on his shoulders. He was really he put Turkey on his shoulders. He absolutely led Turkey's attack, similar to YAMAL with Spain. I just feel like at that age to be doing that is just absurd. Like,
yeah,
Turkey have a couple of honourable mentions. The left back is a phenomenal footballer, Kadioglu. He is extremely talented. He's going to be sought after by a lot of top clubs this summer. And then I absolutely love the right winger, Yilmaz.
Yilmaz is very good as well. Yeah,
quick, strong, has everything you want in a right winger. Good defensively. Was very, very impressed with a lot of the Turkish players. Demiral was brilliant.
Demiral, yeah. You could tell the impact of when Turkey played against the Netherlands.
100%. Yeah. It was major. Now, look, he did deserve to be banned, but he kind of went off the map in recent years. Some of Juventus early went to Atlanta. He was extremely highly rated when he came to Juventus. So in the same season as De Ligt, they were meant to be the partnership for the next decade. But look, might be well sought after that tournament again.
Do we need to give an honourable mention to Cody Gakpo? Because he finished the tournament as joint top scorer with Harry Kane, the Georgian fella, Georges Mika Duatse, however you say it. I'm not Spanish, I can't remember. Jamal Musiala and Danny Olmo. So it was a 5-person tie for top scorer.
Was there not a 6 as well? Was the Slovakian?
Even France. Yeah.
I want to talk about him a bit later, but that's just one of the honorable mention I want to give as well. He was fantastic as well.
Go, sir.
Gakpo deserves one, and it shows you that he should be playing off the left. He's a left winger. He's not a striker.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He finally got played in this position, and then you see what he can do, which is annoying. But United top, so I don't want to be praising Liverpool players too much. But yeah, he finally gets played in this position, and he had a phenomenal tournament. So, but yeah, it depends. If we see Liverpool playing him on the left again next season, we'll see how he does. But again, with him at Liverpool, they've got Diaz in front, so it was a bit tough. But yeah, I think he showed this tournament how good of a player he actually is. Because he had a tough season. I remember the game against United in the FA Cup. Jamie Carragher came out and publicly tweeted about how bad he was, which I thought was a bit too far. I don't think as a legend you should be criticising your players to the public that much.
100%, yeah, agree.
I mean, obviously you should be criticised. When someone has a bad game, you can tell they have a bad game. But I think he knows how much of an influence he could have on the fans. So I think that wouldn't have helped Gakpo at all. But he's obviously put that behind him and showed Liverpool fans how good of a player he actually is.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. I think Gakpo surprised quite a few. I think during the again, it's not a spoiler because the podcast's already out, but during our predictions podcast, I went through the odds of who the bookie thought would be top scorer, and we all laughed quite hard when I read out the name Cody Gakpo, and he ended up winning it. So, shows what we all know.
Exactly. And now look,
yeah,
as Liverpool player, he does deserve the prize.
It's a shame Scott's not here.
Guillermo, talk to us about Trans.
Yes, I honestly feel I haven't heard a lot of talk about him during the tournament, but he was such an influential player for Slovakia. So like a goal against Belgium, a goal against England. Considering where he came from, he just recently signed with Slavia Prague, but to come into the international setup at age 30 and just boss the Euros he deserves a lot. I honestly had him in my team of the tournament. I feel like he was just an absolute hero for Slovakia, honestly.
Guillermo, would you like to take a guess at how many total shots he had in the entire tournament?
Was it like 4 on target, I think?
4 on target, but total shots in the entire tournament.
Go ahead.
5. 4 of them on target, 3 went in.
Yeah, that's a special kind of player who could just 5 chances, takes 3, wins you games. That's just to come in at age 30 and just do that. He deserves so much credit, especially for a nation like Slovakia.
Yeah.
Just deserves so much credit.
Yep, agreed. Okay.
Slovakians had
honorable mentions.
Lobotka, but the Slovakians had a couple of old. Now, look, I'm not saying people over 30 are old. No offense, LA, but
it's strange.
They had a couple of old heads. Was the right back 37 or something?
Yes.
Was that Slovakia?
Yes. Yeah, he was 37.
47, and then in terms of honorable mentions, I thought Lobotka was immense. Marshall, the middle of the park, Slovakia. He is another underrated player. But yeah, Lobotka.
Go ahead.
I think Vitinha. We haven't talked about Vitinha yet. I thought we would have talked about him by now. He had a very good tournament, didn't he?
He was okay. He was okay.
We'll probably talk about letdowns next, will we?
Well, I'm just going to do a little bit of breaking news for you, and then we'll carry on with the podcast.
You're United, please.
Please no.
Fabrice Hawkins. He's just tweeted Real Madrid have submitted a fresh bid for Lenny Yoro.
I thought that was going to be hard.
Yeah.
Sorry, boys.
And Fabrice is quite reliable, to be fair.
How well it lasted.
Yeah.
PG's in the chat. Billy, here we go.
Yeah, L's in the chat, boys. Okay. Let's do our tournament flops, shall we? Because there's some to choose from. The highest profile of which Cristiano Ronaldo. Anyone? I called it.
He wasn't great. He wasn't great. He wasn't that.
I was looking at. Oh, go ahead, Dylan.
I love Ronaldo. I'll always be a big Ronaldo fan, but I think he's having a really hard time coming to terms with the fact that he's not the player.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's too tough.
I think when he missed that penalty, I think he was thinking to himself, "This could be my last contribution to Portuguese football," and I've missed the penalty to put us through. But yeah, he was very poor.
Yeah,
there was a few players. I have to say, I love Bruno. I don't think Bruno was great.
No.
I thought he was decent, though. I wouldn't have said he was bad. I wouldn't say he had a bad tournament.
For his standards, I don't think he turned up to the level he can.
I just want to say that you all said that I was mental in the predictions podcast for saying that Ronaldo shouldn't be in the Portugal squad and that he was going to cost them the tournament.
Well, I still agree with you, even after a tournament, to be honest. I don't think he shouldn't be in the squad. I think maybe he shouldn't be near the starting 11, but he's such an influential figure in that squad. You can see, even after he missed that penalty, you can see that's the effect it had on the whole squad.
In my defense, I think I said starting.
starting. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. But I feel
just now I said in the squad, to be fair, but in the predictions podcast I was talking about starting. I said
I think we all remember Euro 2016. He went off injured and the whole on the sidelines. You can just tell he's such an influential figure in that Portugal camp. I feel you can't just not have him with you.
Yeah.
Even if he's not going to play a starting role, he's still so important to have around, I feel.
Jota should have started, though.
What was that, Dylan?
I think Jota should have started. Jota, I prefer Jota to Ramos anyways.
Yeah, he didn't get as much minutes as he should have done.
Well,
Nah, 100%.
I'm not sure Jota was entirely fit for the tournament, to be honest.
No.
Yeah, well, is he ever?
Yeah, exactly.
Dylan can't go 5 minutes. They're taking a dig at a Liverpool player.
I'm entirely going on his previous 5 seasons, so it is what it is. Okay, moving on. I think the next flop of the tournament, I'd like to nominate the entire Croatian team.
Yes.
Yes, they were very
They
poor.
weren't amazing. Let's put it that way. But I also think they've just aged to a point where they need a revamp. You know, Modric is aging, Perisic is aging. I think they're at a stage now where they need the next generation to come in. But yeah, they were very underwhelming.
I still think it's unacceptable they didn't qualify. I remember when you're looking going into it, we kind of dubbed it the group of death. But when you look at the teams in there, you had Albania, obviously, who Croatia should have dealt with, but Italy as well. Like another flop of the tournament, by the way. I feel like that group wasn't as hard to get out of as we predicted originally. You know, France.
They didn't win one game. That's very.
No.
That's very.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Okay, so I'm going to give you a surprising flop of the tournament now. European Championship winning captain Alvaro Morata.
I was going to say, I saw Dylan backing him in the group chat the other day, so I was waiting to see what he'd say.
I think he does a lot of work for people now. See,
I think
that's my opinion.
The tournament, in spite of him, not with him. He scored 1 goal in the entire tournament as the starting striker for the tournament winners.
That was the first game, though. I'm pretty sure that was the first game.
Very good. And they won
Croatia
4-1, 5-1.
Yeah, I think it was 3-1 though against Croatia.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion.
3-0.
I think he was to Spain in this tournament what Giroud was to France in the World Cup when they won it. That's an unpopular opinion.
He's not as influential as that. I really don't. He didn't hold the ball up. He didn't make runs into the box. He wasn't used as a target man. He wasn't bullying defenders. Spain were a lot better and won the game when Morata came off in the final.
I don't know. I'm a Morata stan, so I'm the wrong man to speak about with this.
Have you gotten a kickback from one of his 17,000 transfers?
Big fan. I like Morata.
He's in on it. He's part of the deal.
Yeah.
He's trying to dig up a new move for him.
I would have liked a Morata at United. Well, not ahead of Xerxes. Look, I'm a major fan of Xerxes, but look, I'm a Morata fan.
I do think Morata is a good player, but yeah, I don't think
he did well at Milan. Good transfer for him.
And then I want to hear from you guys. Kylian Mbappe. Again.
Yeah, he wasn't great, but he did have a run.
And he knows it himself as well, didn't he? I'm pretty sure, I can't remember the exact words he said, but he came out after the tournament and said that he apologised for how he played. He really didn't have the best of tournaments, and especially to his standards. He came in the best player in the world. I think it's a bit more arguable now. You get a few more Rodri shouts, I think, whereas before, I think most people were saying Mbappe. But
you think Madrid was on his mind, probably?
I mean, how could it not be? How could it not be? We're all human at the end of the day. I mean, he won't admit it. He'll never admit it. He'll never say.
I don't agree. I think if it was a transfer saga that was still going on through the tournament, then yes. Yeah. But that transfer has been wrapped up for 2 fucking years. Everybody knew that.
Yeah. Getting injured before he got to Madrid. You don't think that would have been on his mind?
With a broken nose. Why?
It's not going to keep you out though, of actually playing for Madrid when the season begins. I think it was in the back. Get injured within games, and let's say badly injured. That's the first couple of months of one of the most high-profile transfers. His dream move gone.
It is massive. I don't think it's going to be in his mind. Maybe not to the extent where it should put him off his game, but realistically, he will have that in mind. It's a massive move.
Be that as it may, I still think he was poor.
I think, honestly, that France in general have been dealing with the kickback of that World Cup final for years, and even it was done what 2 years ago. They're still dealing with the kickback of that, you know.
Yeah,
like, they were such a massive squad clean out after that final. And even then, there's still so many aging players in that France team. You know, Griezmann is getting up there. He wasn't as influential as he usually was. Kante is still in there. He's definitely, you know, even though I feel like he had an alright tournament, he's still not as good as he was.
Griezmann's a massive one. I think Griezmann's a massive one. The last couple of tournaments, he always comes out and people always say, "Wow, I forgot how good Griezmann was." This tournament,
he didn't start the games.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Surprisingly, this tournament, he really didn't have the best of tournaments, Griezmann.
No.
Okay. Well,
look, he's aging though. I forgot. Like, there's a lot of players in that France team.
How old is he now?
Griezmann's 30.
He's 30.
Is he only 30?
That's what I'm saying. Is he? I thought he was about to tell me he's 33, 32.
No.
30.
33. Sorry, he's 33.
Oh, I was going to say Griezmann 30.
Fact checking myself.
I think they miss Pogba hugely.
No, I do agree though. Yeah.
They miss Pogba hugely. No, even Mbappe said it. Mbappe, because in the France midfield without Pogba, there's nobody to play them long diagonal balls. Many can do it, but not to the rate that Pogba.
You could say that, but they got to a World Cup final without him.
Yeah, they did.
I still think they may. Even Mbappe said it. He said, "I cannot make the runs I used to make."
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't think Paul Pogba. Obviously, you're gonna miss Paul Pogba. He's a brilliant player.
Let's do it this way then. Mbappe probably had a poor tournament without Pogba. I don't think France had a poor tournament without Pogba.
Yeah,
I think they were anywhere near the level that France are usually at tournaments.
I don't know.
And I think honestly, Deschamps didn't help matters really. If you look at the bench they had on the Spain game, they had so much talented players that could arguably have been starting that game. You had the likes of, just having a look at it real quick. You have Camavinga was on the bench, Zaire Emery was on the bench, Barcola was on the bench. So was Barcola was on the bench as well.
People like Rabiot shouldn't start. Rabiot done well, done okay.
But they have such
Rabiot's a pivotal.
They have such a talented host of players on that bench that they need to start blooding into the team, because Camavinga has been fluctuating around the France squad for so long now. He should be a starting key player in that France squad by now with how good he is. And he's just not.
Fofana's another one, should be starting. I said that before the tournament again. Okay, look, any other flops of the tournament that you guys want to mention?
I mean, I think you could say 4 for England, couldn't you, really? More than 4. I think
there's
a lot.
It's difficult, though.
So
labelling any of them as flop.
Foden had 0 goals and 0 assists. You have to say Foden. Have to.
Another one it's been on my mind for quite a while is Ukraine had a good squad going into that tournament. I expected more of them going into the tournament, really. And they had so much new talent coming into that squad this year. From Girona, you had Sanikov and Dobvik, and you have you've influential Premier League players like Zinchenko as well. And Lunin as well. Lunin was coming off such a good season with Real, and I just felt nothing came together. Like a 3-0 hammering by Romania
in the first game as well. I think that probably just knocked the confidence out of them. But go on, sir.
You're right. They've about 6 players that could go for over 50 to 60 million, and they just didn't turn up.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one from me before we move on. Dominic Szoboszlai.
Yeah, he wasn't the best. He wasn't the best.
I think he was okay. He wasn't special, but I think he was okay. But that Hungary team were another flop. They were unbeaten for 18 games. prior to the Euros before Ireland got hold.
That's what I mean. He came in with such a big reputation, and maybe I'm seeing it through the eyes of all the Liverpool fans in our group chat who are just constantly ramming how good this guy is down our throat, and I just didn't see it.
I think you're right, to be honest. I mean, he's their captain. He's obviously their biggest player. You need to have a very good tournament to live up to the standards that fans are putting on him, and more importantly, he's probably put some standards on himself that he probably didn't live up to this tournament. Yeah. I think you could easily say he didn't have the best of tournaments, and I think he will admit that.
I feel like Hungary were kind of labelled with. Remember back in Euro 2020, I think it was, when Turkey were labelled with that kind of dark horse. I feel like Hungary got slapped with that label, and it's kind of just a label of doom, you know.
Albania got it too, didn't they? Albania did, and they finished last in their group stage, didn't they?
Yeah.
A few people calling Albania underdogs.
When they went to Italy, everyone was thinking, "Here we go." But...
Yes, yeah.
One team that we haven't really touched on at all, which is weird considering their current world ranking, is Belgium. I don't think that they necessarily underperformed or overperformed. I think they are just squad at the moment.
I said it in the previous podcast. Yeah, I said it in the first podcast that we've done about the Euros. Sorry to but I don't get I'll never understand their ranking. They had a good squad 6 years ago, and I think every single year it's been getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't know how they still live. I don't know how they still have that FIFA ranking.
Well, after the end of the Euros, so the latest rankings as of today, they've dropped 2 places to 4th, and the fact that they're at 4th,
they're still 4th. It doesn't make any sense.
So they're still 4th.
It's wild to me that they're 4th. So the world rankings as it stands at the moment, and again, number 1 will surprise you. Brazil.
Brazil number 1? What?
Number 1. Argentina are number 2. And France are number 3. So the world and Copa America champions are number 2. Having gone up 1 place. France number 3, having gone up 1 place. Belgium are 4th, England 5th, Holland 6th, Croatia 7th.
This makes perfect sense. It's
How does
perfectly
it actually work? How does it actually work? Do any of us know?
Yes.
Alfie, it just makes sense, man.
It is an aggregation of results over 3 years, and I believe it's based on performances against the coefficient of the team you're playing against. So if you play a team with a high coefficient win, you get more points.
Yeah.
In the words of Todd Howard, it just works.
Let me round out the top 10, right? So you've got Italy 8th, Portugal 9th, and the European champion Spain in 10th.
But that 3 years thing, like you just said, that's probably why it's all over the place. Because I mean, like right now, you would put Italy lower than Portugal, Spain obviously up there. Maybe in a year or two, we'll see Belgium actually drop to where they should be.
What have Brazil done recently to warrant that even?
Sorry, I'm going to have to correct myself because for whatever reason,
the whole list,
top 10 I just read to you was bullshit because I clicked on FIFA World Rankings. And Alfie, I'm gonna screenshot this, and I'd like you to put it up on the screen, right?
Yeah.
The year had automatically set itself to 2022. I don't know why. I just went directly to the FIFA website, and it was stuck on 2022. So I'm now going to read the 2024 world rankings that are accurate as of the 20th of June because they haven't been updated yet. So from the 20th of June, Argentina are number 1, followed by. Oh God, why have you done that? But right, Argentina 1, France 2, Belgium 3, Brazil 4, England 5, Portugal 6, Holland 7, Spain 8, Croatia 9, Italy 10. So it's all the same team, just in a slightly different order.
Yeah.
Still ridiculous.
It still is.
I feel like Belgium could lose like every single match for a decade straight, and they still somehow just be there. They're just always there.
I'm looking at the rankings here on FOTMob, and Germany is 16th, with the USA being 11th.
Well, that kind of makes sense. Different.
No, that is true. Mexico 15, Uruguay 14. They have the Morocco and Colombia are joint 12th, so there isn't 13. USA 11. Yeah, I mean it's insane, but look, it is what it is. I think Spain are probably in for a very big jump.
Yeah.
Once it's
Argentina
updated.
will probably extend their lead at the top of the rankings, having won the Copa America.
Yeah.
England.
Argentina.
Yeah. Okay. Look. What I want to end the podcast on England's search for a new manager, because having lost the finals, Gareth Southgate announced today that he is stepping down as England manager. There were tears in the group chat. There were cheers in the group chat, and that's just me and Alfie. But boys, let's
I'll miss him as well,
because the favourite for the job is Eddie Howe. Newcastle released a statement today saying they're going to fight to keep him. One of the other favourites is Mauricio Pochettino.
Not at home, man. Please don't do this.
And weirdly, and this took me by surprise until I worked out what job he currently has. The fourth favourite for the England job is ex-Everton midfielder Lee Carsley.
Yeah, he's the under-21s manager.
I didn't realise until early he's Irish. He played about 40 games for Ireland. I didn't realise that.
Yeah, and I actually remember it very distinctly because after Stephen Kenny was sacked for Ireland, he was the only name we heard for like half a year straight.
Once he was linked to the Ireland job. Oh, he's done brilliantly with doing the 21s.
Yeah,
And
good job.
Gareth Southgate came from the under-21s.
he did. And I'm not overly familiar with the England setup, but I know it was set up by Ashworth. And there's a proper system behind the scenes that Carsley would have a lot of knowledge of.
Yeah.
But is he tactically astute enough to take England to that next level that Southgate couldn't?
Well, he's never worked as a first-team coach. Gareth Southgate at least had that experience with Middlesbrough, albeit unsuccessfully. Eddie Howe, I think, is much of a muchness. I think he's too Gareth Southgate.
I'd argue he's a lot more attacking, though. I'd argue. I think he's more attacking.
I don't think.
A name I haven't heard on this is
it would guarantee that Anthony Gordon's got that left wing slot for the next year.
Lewis Hall at left back, you get all the boys in.
Yep. We've got a Spanish and an Irish bloke on the podcast, and putting your hatred of England aside for just a minute, if you could just take your Irish hat for just a second and just put on your unbiased hat. Where do you think England should go with their next manager? Not who, but what kind of manager should they be looking at based on the crop of players that are in the squad at the moment?
Personally, as I said previously with the Ashworth thing and how he has set things up behind the scenes, that England would probably look at Potter. Or one of, I think, Dyche's such an underrated manager, and he's never had a crop of players as talented as he would at England.
But again, there's a defensive.
And I genuinely think Sean.
I would love to see how Dyche does it.
Yeah, I was thinking Dyche as well, but I kind of feel like England are going to want to move away from that line of defensively branded setup that Sean Dyche is like notorious for, 4-4-2.
Then Potter would be, again, I think, a good appointment for England. He's been out of work for a while. He knows what it's like to be in a pressure-filled environment after his time at Chelsea. He's got that break rest.
I think there are kind of two different spectrums. There's your real tactically astute managers like Pochettino, and you've got your real man managers like Gareth Southgate. I feel they've got to go somehow in between the two of them.
That's what I was going to say. You need to find the middle
balance,
especially with tournament football, and especially with the stories you've heard about previous England camps. You need to make sure this gaffer can get the squad together.
Yeah. So that's why I would kind of feel either Potter or Carsley are your best choices, because I feel they kind of scratch both itches really well. You need to have a bit of both. Because Gareth Southgate was too far in one direction, and the likes of Pochettino will be too far in the other,
How do you make the Carsley argument with zero first-team management experience?
Well, I feel just that knowledge of the setup should translate into the senior setup as well. But the thing is,
He's been there for a few years as well, so he would have
Yeah, you
coached
have
some
a
of the
point.
players that are in there now.
Yeah,
But
man, I wouldn't give him the job either.
No, the experience isn't there. You are right, to be fair, but
He won a tournament with England, I think, did he?
Yeah.
2021,
We won,
yeah,
we
that
won
is
the previous Euros against Spain.
Yeah,
But I feel I would have
Yeah,
Karzai
but then-
as an example, who has the knowledge of the setup. I feel it has to be someone who has a knowledge of the England setup, who has a relationship with the current crop of players, you know?
So, would you like me to read you the list of current favourites for the England job according to the bookies?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let me know if there's any surprises in here, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Eddie Howe, Graham Potter, Lee Carsley. I don't even want to say this one out loud. It's so ridiculous because not even a possibility. Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, literally, he's already turned down an international job. Like, he doesn't.
I don't even, I'll say my thoughts after.
Mauricio Pochettino. Thomas Tuchel.
No.
Frank Lampard.
Yes, break Frank Lampard as England manager.
Not happening.
Lamps.
Joaquin Lowe.
Ooh.
There is a chance for Roberto Mancini to decimate a third international golden generation.
The trio, like that.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Get a boy in charge. I'll have that.
Jose Mourinho,
Up for it. Nah, he won't take it.
and my personal favourite, Michael Carrick.
That's a really good show. I feel actually.
Michael.
Good show.
If you know a bit about his Ipswich setup, the relationship between
Ipswich.
the fans.
Middlesbrough.
Not fucking hell, you're not talking about McKenna. Sorry, it's.
Oh, not McKenna. No.
I'm a fool. I'm a fool.
Let me go on to the more outlandish ones now, right? Pep Guardiola, Allegri, Ryan Mason, Steven Gerrard, Jody Morris, Darren Moore, Russell Martin, which will make Alex very
Alex is gonna cry.
Didier Deschamps. Kieran McKenna is ranked below Martin. Gary O'Neill, Ryan Lowe, and Roy Keane.
I have only one question.
I
have one question. How has Ryan Mason ended up on that list?
Honestly,
It's
how Darren Moore ended up on this?
They should give me the job.
I'll be the assistant.
Yeah, Alfie, you can be the man manager.
I'd love it. I'd get on with them all.
But while I actually get back to the point I was making earlier when I got the bloody wrong manager, don't ask me, okay? McKenna though, I feel McKenna would be a real good shout because if you know a bit about the Ipswich setup, there's a real kind of close relationship between the managers, the players, and the fans. It's a real tight-knit group, and he kind of hits that balance I was talking about earlier of both tactically astute and also that man management that Southgate was known for. Because I feel you cannot just go full on Thomas Tuchel or Jose Mourinho where it's all about the tactics, because the work Southgate has done in the last 8 years can't just be disregarded. Like, his man management and the group he's put together has been superb. You've got to have a manager that's going to continue that work as well, just slightly more tactically knowledgeable than Southgate as well, which is why I feel McKenna would definitely be a good candidate for the job personally.
Yeah.
Some outlets have Jurgen Klopp as 8-1. 8-1.
The break. I don't know why people are linking him to these jobs.
It doesn't make any sense. He said it like he's not going to do it.
Magaluf.
Okay.
I want Southgate back. I miss him already, man.
So weird, mate.
Stop talking about your dad, Alfie, man.
The thing is, right, as a 16-year-old, obviously, I can't really remember the days of Hodgson. It's always kind of been Southgate's England manager since, Roy Hodgson before Southgate, weren't it?
I don't know if he's necessarily the example you want to use.
No, I'm saying that he was the previous manager. So I'm just saying that Southgate is. I think he's given us all some great memories, and I think he deserves so much more respect than he's been given. But the funny thing is, today I think he's been given so much more respect. It's just football fans are so so reactionary. Now he's gone. Now they're giving him a bit more respect, and it's just, I feel like now we're gonna see a bit of, we should have kept Southgate. Hopefully not. I mean, I'd rather just win it with whoever in charge, whether it's fucking Sophie or but Dave from the pub or anyone. I don't really care. I just want to win a tournament. But I think Southgate's done an incredible job.
There's no doubt he's done a lot of work.
Let's end the podcast with one final question, right? Of the managers that I just read out to you, irrespective of how you feel about them personally, professionally, whatever, which one would you pick to win the World Cup in 2 years' time? Guillermo?
Well, I can't exactly say Ryan Mason, can I? But no, Eddie, I think Eddie Howe is going to be probably the logical choice they're going to go for. And with the current group of players, I don't personally think he's the best choice, but I think it's the most logical choice that they're going to go for.
Okay, Dylan?
Potter.
Potter.
Yeah, I'd probably say Potter.
I'm saying Carrick. I think Carrick wins the World Cup with that group of players because I think
I'd love
he
it.
understands how the midfield is supposed to work.
Yeah.
The forwards will look after themselves. They don't need much coaching. The centre backs will look after themselves. They don't need much. By the way, we'd have a centre back pairing of Gahey and Jarrett Branthwaite at the next World Cup. Just saying. I think they look after themselves. It's the midfield that needs the balancing and the fine tuning. But hey, look. I think that's probably all we've got time for. Please do me a favour in the comments below. Let us know who you want to be the next England manager. Don't forget to like and subscribe because next week's podcast guest is massive and you're not going to want to miss that. My thanks to Guillermo, to Dylan, to Alfie. Boys, special podcast. Well done. Thank you. And we'll see you next week.